Well, Dave, here we are indoors at the training ground for now, sheltering from that wild wind out there. How much has that impacted on your training schedule recently?
It's not impacted massively. We've managed to, I suppose, get away with things and be organised and put things in place where we've sheltered from the conditions a little bit on the odd day. The biggest, I suppose, or the hardest thing to deal with is what you get from the session and how it affects the quality. That's probably the most frustrating thing, because training's been, certainly last week when it was a little bit less windy, should we say, the quality was really, really good. Unfortunately, we didn't get an opportunity of a weekend to I suppose back that up in terms of 3 points at the end of it. That's I suppose the biggest frustration from having been a player, from a player's perspective. You can deal with the rain and it being wet underfoot. The wind can have a huge impact, especially when it's at the level it's been over the last week or so. So that's the biggest frustration. It can at times become frustrating for players because it's difficult to play at the levels you want to.
And that could be a factor we face tomorrow, I guess, as well.
It is, yeah. Listen, I think that's always the hard part. What you don't want to do is for the weather to affect the game. The one thing you guarantee, the wind more often than not is going to be the one factor that can really add a variable that's difficult to control. Whether it's swirling, whether it's down the pitch completely one way and all of a sudden it becomes a game of two halves and playing completely different in both halves. But it's another, like I say, it's another challenge. And the one thing you know is that if you're going to be a successful team, that you have to deal with obstacles that are put in your way. And unfortunately, at this time of the year and in this part of the country, the wind is something that we have to deal with, and you get on with it. And listen, if we're sat at 5 o'clock tomorrow night and we've won the game, we'll not be bothered how windy it is.
And it's just a relief, like you say, to get a game in, because last week, as you've previously said there, it was so frustrating because you had such a productive week by the sound of things on the training ground, and not have that release at the end of it must have been so hard to take. It is.
Listen, it's. I think you look at it and probably reflect a little bit, and even on Saturday, would we have preferred to go and play the game in horrendous weather conditions and it almost be a toss of a coin, or the weather decide the outcome of the game? No, absolutely not. It may well be the case tomorrow, but what the players ultimately, all the work they do during the week is focused for the Saturday. That, as much as everything's full time in what we do, you live and die for your Saturdays and your league games and winning, and like I say, and being able to, I suppose, put into practice the things you have worked on during the week. When it doesn't happen, there's a frustration. For some, they'll be quite happy with the rest and the break to have a weekend off that have played a lot of football. But you're sort of straight back at it, and hopefully, like I say, the stuff we've done this week will translate onto a good performance. Don't get me wrong, I want us to perform really, really well. I want us to play at the intensity that we've looked to work towards and getting better at. But ultimately, a successful result and hopefully 3 points.
When I spoke to you last Saturday morning following the postponement, you were looking at the positive side of things. You were able to get along to Meadow Lane and watch tomorrow's opponents firsthand. How important and how important for the build up and the preparation was that for you?
It definitely helps. It definitely helps. Listen, we'll watch probably the last 3 games of Notts County in terms of clips and full games, and we'll do a little bit this morning around what I saw at the weekend. But to be able to see it firsthand and be able to see the off the ball stuff, if you like, and the bigger picture from high up in one of their stands is obviously different than watching it on a camera that's focused in on the ball a lot of the time. So it gives you a little bit probably more time to prepare, in terms of, especially was having a weekend off. A Monday for us normally will be an extended recovery straight away with the game not being played. We're straight into it and can almost put a session together Monday that focuses on little bits we want to work on for tomorrow's game. It gives you a little bit more time again in terms of having seen it on a Saturday at 3 o'clock rather than watching it on a video on a Sunday or a Monday morning. So you just have, like I said, a little bit longer to prepare and put a plan in place for the week in terms of how the structure of the sessions will look and what you want to try and get across in that. So I'll watch as many games of football as I can. I think that it's always better watching them live, like I say, because especially from a coaching perspective, you can see so much more. The pitch is so different than what it is on watching it on a TV or on video. And
obviously last time you went to Notts County, it was a watch and brief then as well when we went and drew 2-2. Probably should have won the game. Tomorrow, probably both sides for one reason or another look fairly different in terms of lineups, but are you expecting just as entertaining a game, weather permitting?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I think it's a massively important game, a big game for both sides. We've just been chatting about it then. I think that they've got a tough little run of fixtures coming up. Obviously on the back of one of the games that was on at the weekend, they're in the playoff positions. They're playing someone who wants to try and hijack those playoff positions. So for them, it's an important game. For us, it's equally as important, if not more important. 3 points to us is probably more important to us than it may be to them, and we'll be, like I said, doing everything we can to win the game. But we know it'll be tough, regardless of they've had some injuries and they've got some important players out, and it has affected what they've done. But they've got a big squad. They're still carrying, in essence, a football league squad in terms of size and quality. So they're up there for a reason. We know it's going to be tough, but like I say, we're in a decent run ourselves. We've been strong at home, and hopefully that'll continue.
Yeah, that strength at home, it's something you talked about when you first arrived, and you have been able to engineer an upturn in the home form and really harness the power of the crowd. We've talked about it before, and it's just going up notch by notch as the games go along, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, the crowd have been brilliant, and they're massively important and shouldn't underestimate the part they play. And I've said before, and I'll continue to say it, we're responsible for that as a group. Ultimately, the 11 that are out there, realistically to start with, are responsible for that in terms of giving them something to shout about and making them get behind us. A lot of it in our attitude to what we do. So listen, we know we're going to make mistakes. You get over a mistake by reacting to it in a positive way and going and getting the ball back. And fans are pretty down to earth in terms of know what to expect. They want to see people putting a shift in, doing everything they can. Obviously, they want to see some positive play and some goal action, and people playing forward, and people wanting to create chances and potentially score chances on the flip side. Well, they want to see people working and tackling and heading and putting their bodies on the line for them, because they're a part of what we're doing on that pitch. So the players have been, like I say, been brilliant. They've done that. The fans have really bought into it, which has been great, and we've had some positive results. So, like I say, long may that continue.